let me get to this because I want to make sure I get all of this said, is signs that you're an empath. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more. Signs that you're an empath. So it's very important because a lot of us are, and they're walking around not realizing it. Okay, so let's start off with, what is an empath? In short, an empath is someone who feels what other people are feeling. Being an empath means you are born with the ability to enter someone else's aura, or LEF is another one, a luminous energy field. Your aura is called either aura, luminous energy field. I know there's a couple other names for it too, but it's all the same thing. This is when you enter someone else's aura, our luminous energy field, and explore another person's feelings and experiences of life on an intimate level. 90% of the time, this is done unconsciously. All right? Unconsciously. So on the upside, you know what it feels like to be another person. So you're often very compassionate towards others and can relate to them easily. Empathy is a psychic gift. It's a divine gift. It's actually a divine birthright because we all have it. And you can use it to read other people. So when we say that we are all one and we are all connected, absolutely we feel and can read that connection. Okay? On the downside, well, there's lots of downsides until you learn to get empathy under command. And now, those of you who might be new to watching this show, there's a difference between control and command. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel that explains the difference between control and command. I've even discussed it in previous shows. Just real quickly. When your mind is in charge, control. When your sacred heart center, your heart chakra, is in the lead, it's command. Command, command, command. Command is much more powerful and will get you further in life than control. Control is an illusion. All right? So know this. And we were given commandments for a reason, right? Commandments from the heart. Most definitely. Suggestions on how to live your life from the heart. All right. So, like I said, there's lots of downsides being an empath. One of the downsides is that you're like a sponge, full of other people's emotions, the conscious and unconscious ones. It gets tiring, doesn't it? Very exhausting, tiring. And how many of you go into public or you go into work and you come home and you are drained and you don't understand why? Right? Plenty of people are empathic and don't even realize it. When that is the case for you, you always have the feeling that you're weird. You're strange. That you have sensitivity issues and other people don't. That you care too much. All of these, however you label it to yourself. Right? But there are signs. Let's see if you can relate to any of the following signs of the unaware empath. Notice that I said the unaware empath. All right. You're feeling the world's, and even when you're aware, we still feel this way. Let me just back up and say that. Even being an aware empath, we still feel this. But maybe for those of you who are walking around and not aware of it, this can help you. Feeling the world suffering on a large scale and wishing you could do something to help. Ironically, this makes you less equipped to do so because you feel overwhelmed. You get that? I'm going to repeat that. You feel the world suffering on such a large scale and wishing you can do something to help. But ironically, it makes you less equipped to help because you feel overwhelmed. It's too overwhelming. It's too many people's energies. not just peoples, but beings, including the earth. You're feeling everything. It's too much. You feel overwhelmed. You find it difficult to watch the news or distressing images because you feel the pain of the being you're watching, as if you are them. And I'm talking about all beings, whether it's humans, the animals, the earth, etc. Okay? But I can't. Not just the news, online now and social networks. And I understand people who want to have awareness and they post graphic pictures. I cannot look at them because I go in way too easy, way too fast. Doesn't mean I don't care. I'm very aware. I just don't need to see it and go through that painful extreme. All right. Yeah, abused kids, animals, anything like that. Forget it. No, I can't do it. All right, even if you stay in the upper vibrations, though, it hurts because you're feeling them. All right, here's another sign. Finding it difficult to fully be present to yourself and your own feelings when conversing with other people. This has happened, right? It's because you're so busy exploring their aura, their luminous energy field, their responses to life, their responses to what you're talking about and not your own. What will happen is you'll feel ungrounded. Some people get dizzy and sometimes sick to your stomach if you don't like the energy you're picking up on from this person. Have you felt like that? You'll go, what just happened? Woo! Why do I feel so airheaded suddenly? Know that you have become ungrounded because you are so much in someone else's energy. All right. Shyness. Most people that are shy are very empathic. It can make you somewhat self-conscious as you are very aware of the side effect or the effect of your words that they have on another person, that and what you're thinking and feeling in response. So sometimes these people really are very careful what they say and what they do because they don't want to be hurtful. All right. Here's another sign. A tendency to say yes to the requests and demands of other people almost as a reflex, instantaneously, without even processing it through the heart and the mind. They ask you something and you're like, yeah. All right, without whether it's something that you really want to do or not. When you are so immersed in another person's experience of life and what they need, how can you say no? It's only afterwards that you realize you forgot yourself and your own needs. Then you try to how do I back out of this? How do I undo this? What did I get myself into? Right? I remember going through this as a teenager. It was, and I didn't realize why my first reaction was to say yes, was to help me. Didn't want to let anybody down on certain things. So, yeah, to learn that very early on. You have a general tendency to put your needs last or serve others at your own expense. What I mean, your own expense, your own health. All right? A liking for distance in relationships and for solitude. I feel this is always necessary, though. And this occurs because as an empath, intimacy and closeness is your default. But when you don't know how to protect yourself from exploring other people's auras, you need some space on your own where there aren't other people around. But this helps you to establish healthy boundaries, and which is a necessity. All right? Establishing healthy boundaries is very much a necessity. And even when you are aware of these abilities, you still have times to where you just want to have some downtime. You just want to have some time where you're not around others. And that's perfectly okay. Don't make yourself a hermit, a hermit crab, or a hermit. But, don't stay stuck. Don't stay there. And just give you time enough to recharge your batteries. All right. You have a feeling, an affinity, and a connectedness to animals and plant kingdom. You can get a feel for how other species and other beings experience life, and you're able to relate to animals and plants and nature on a very deep level. Of course, most of us are. We feel responsible for how other people feel, and going out of our way to help them to feel better, even when it doesn't serve you. After all, you feel their emotions so keenly. But this is part of establishing these healthy boundaries, because some people don't want help. They don't want your help. They just don't want help, period. Right? So we want to help. And how many people have done that? You try to help someone that doesn't want help, and it ends up being a big mess. It ends up being crazy. And you end up, both parties end up arguing, or the true intention wasn't even clearly established or recognized, because this person feels, why are you getting in my business? Leave me alone. And you're just trying to help. Have you ever had that? Situations blow up in your face. This is why it's, again, very necessary to establish these boundaries, so that you'll know, you can recognize when they don't want help. All right. A tendency to let relationships and friendships get too heavy and too close too fast. You have a strange tendency to feel aches and pains, but only around certain people. Guess what? You're picking up on what's going on with them. All right. When you have a strange tendency to feel the aches and pains, but only around certain people. And this doesn't have to happen when you're standing physically beside the person. You can be on the phone with them. You can be at a distance. You can see a picture of them and suddenly get these feelings. Okay? So it doesn't matter. Distance is just as powerful. Yes, people do get angry when they hear the truth. They really do. Some aren't ready for it either. And so we have to recognize when they are ready for that truth. Okay. How about you find yourself in a counselor role where people dump their emotions on you, and sometimes afterwards you're very drained by it. You like helping people, but it drains you when you feel drained, right? And I think it's cute because I see that it's happening to my sons too. They'll be out and all of us, right? Strangers come up and just start telling you their life story. I mean, things you would never say to somebody you just met, right? Right, I know, natural bartender. But yeah, and they just come up and start telling you these things, and it's like, do I have something on my forehead? You know, come here. The doctor is in 5 cents. I mean, what do I have on my forehead? What it is, though, it's beautiful, is that your heart, your whole being is such a bright light, and they respond to that. They see this white light, and they come to you. All right? So, establishing healthy boundaries so that you don't feel drained. All right. Also, an emotional over-identification with characters in novels, plays, and movies. It doesn't matter if they're real or they're not. You still feel how they felt. I do this all the time. This is how I can tell whether it's a good movie or not, by how well the actor or the actress has performed. When you know they're acting, but they're acting so good, so on an emotional level that you're right there. You're laughing if it's funny, you're crying if it's sad. It's like, wow. And I have to tell you, right, great actors are mediums. I absolutely believe that. And there's a big difference when you look at older films, older movies, and today's. There are still some really good emotional ones. I like those. But I think it's great with CGI. It makes for a really great sci-fi movie. But when you're going to replace actors and actresses from truly acting, it turns me off. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Hey, that was a really great sci-fi movie. Yay, cool. All right. But one that really, really stirs the emotions in empaths, you've done a great job. Right? So, Yeah, my family thinks I'm weird. You know, if you feel, you get all excited or just, you know, run, you know. I don't watch horror films now, but I used to in my 20s because I thought they were, or my teenage years and 20s, because I thought they were laughable. That was the most horrible acting ever. Why would you go into a room without turning a light on? What? I mean, you know, so I would laugh. I would have the friends we'd go to watch these movies, and all but ones, and they weren't going to go to the movies with me anymore because here it is, a horror, everyone's screaming, and I'm laughing because I think it's just so stupid. Really? You deserve to get your head cut off or be stabbed if you're doing something stupid like that. So I could tell it was a bad horror movie. So the old horror was like comedy to me. But I'll tell you, one awesome movie that had me shaking in my shoes. That actually, I was not laughing. And that was the Nightmare on Elm Street ones. Because I understood dream time. I understood the significance of your dreams in sleep. So I was like, wow, that's really deep. This is something that could happen. You know what I mean? I mean, just if we let our fear develop enough, it can come back and hurt us. I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I ventured off a little bit. But anyway. and here you go. We also have a tendency to forget what fun is and lighten up. Big thing. We have to have fun and lighten up. Comedy is very much a healer, and we need that. We need that a lot. Okay, question alert. Someone's going to ask a question? Question alert? Question in chat? Alright, empaths are usually deeply spiritual people, simply because the gift of empathy allows us to experience oneness. This in turn gives you an expanded perspective on other people and on life in general. You can see the big picture. Alright, it's not tunnel vision, you see the whole thing. Now, if you can relate to these signs, be assured that you can command whose emotions you feel and explore. Instead of, I'm getting to that. How do you define the boundaries? Very good. See, you're psychic. You knew I was getting into that. Instead of automatically exploring the aura or the LEF, luminous energy field, of most of the people you meet, you can choose whether you want to explore this connection or not. All right? Now, I've heard some people say turn it on and turn it off. It really isn't a matter of turning it on or turning it off, because quite honestly, it's on all the time. It really is. On all the time. You just can't turn energy on and off. All right? It can go into a type of hold pattern, but you don't turn it off. All right, so when we choose not to focus in on something or someone, right, we shouldn't ignore it, but redirect your focus of energy. The choice is whether you want to focus in on this person's energy or not. Do I want to stay with this or not? All right, it's the focus. You can redirect your focus of energy and be aware of your surroundings. So I'm going to go in a little bit more too about this. That was a very good question. How do you define the boundaries? The biggest number one thing is grounding. We'll go into that in just one moment, how powerful grounding is. Even I read all these signs about being an empath. There is a little bit more. Sometimes empaths are misdiagnosed if they go to a doctor and try to explain everything on how they feel. Being empathic requires a great deal of care in order to maintain stability and balance. All right. You can have severe mood swings, clinical depression, chronic anxiety, and are the worst case scenarios of an empathic person. Does that sound familiar? Do you know anyone like that? Have you ever experienced severe mood swings, clinical depression, and chronic anxiety? Hello. All right, the first step really is understanding grounding and how important. This is how it's managed. This is how you retain balance. Grounding is so very important. Grounding is being present in the here and the now. And when you are grounded, when you are present in the here and the now, it helps you to establish, this is my feeling. This isn't my feeling. This isn't mine. I'm going to release this. I'm going to let go of this, right? I'm not going to focus on this because this isn't mine. It helps you to know what your emotions are. What is this? I'm suddenly crying. Let me identify the trigger or the source of this. Why am I crying? What brought this on? Who was I just around? Who was I just thinking of, too? You don't have to be around. Who was I just thinking of? Who was I just talking to? Who was I communicating to? So we really have to stop and be aware of where these energies are coming in from. All right? And grounding helps you, because when you're grounded, it like puts a spotlight on you. It helps to identify who you are in the midst of everyone else's energy. So I hope that explains that a little bit better for you. All right? So we talked about that, is why are you having these feelings? As soon as you identify and trigger, identify the trigger point, and if you know it's yours or not, then boom, you can deal with it a little bit better. Okay? What's the reason for having these overwhelmed feelings? So, and you can work through this. And this is with your guides, with other, surrounding yourself with like-hearted, I didn't say like-minded people. I said like-hearted people. All right? You want to be around like-hearted people, the same people. You can help each other. But it's very important, too, when you're not grounding, when you're putting the focus on you and your energy, you are able to communicate much clearly and much better with your guides, with your angels, with those for your highest and greatest. And then you're working in these upper levels, these upper vibrations, and you're not only working with your own guides, but everyone's guides for universal, multi-universal highest and greatest, for everyone's highest and greatest. Okay, this helps you very much so to understand then and identify what's coming in from where and who you are. It's finding you in the midst of all of this chaos, so to speak. Okay, so we truly are an energetic energy type of puzzle, right? And it's all moving. Energy is constantly moving, alive, and vibrates, and it's trying to find you. Where am I in this whole big puzzle? Where am I? It's very important for you to know who you are in the midst of this oneness. All right? You need to establish your own identity, because this helps you to move forward with your mission. And it really does. All right? A Rubik's Cube, I think. I think we've all felt that way, you know? Yeah, we're sitting here, anyone's ever worked a Rubik's Cube, right? You're like, this is a cruel joke. Does this even really line up? Who's laughing watching us trying to put this together? Well, don't we feel like that, though, in our own lives? We feel like, you know, and I've heard people say this, how many of you have thought that you are somebody's reality comedy show, and that they're watching you laughing their butts off? And you're like, ah! Sure, we all are part of this this beautiful this beautiful play or production, so to speak, right? We're all connected and we're all going through it. No, it's not just the creator's not doing. The creator is not laughing at us like that. We actually love the creator so much that we want to experience things that our creator can't. All right? Our creator's not in human form. It's a much powerful much more powerful energy than we can ever, our minds can even wrap around. So we don't even try to comprehend that mind-wise, but our hearts know. Our hearts do. So identifying yourself, absolutely. And grounding. Now, you can have crystals and gemstones are very powerful with grounding. I find that the darker colors, the ones that match your chakra colors, and those of you who aren't aware of what chakras are, you can Google that now. Yay! Or you can actually go to True Psychics Network's the meditations. We have free meditations on that meditations page, and we help you go through your chakras. These are free audio meditations. Take advantage of those. They really help you. And the chakras are color-coded as well. So the darker colored stones, like your first chakra, is red. And then you go into orange and then to yellow for your second and third chakras. So I find that the jaspers are really great type of grounding stones. All right. So any, like I said, the darker colors, go what you're attracted to. And then, of course, it's good to have all the chakra colors. You want to just surround yourself with all of those. But when you're working on yourself and establishing and grounding, you want to get those. I like to have both. You know, I have, for me, a yellow jasper. I have a yellow jasper, which is very powerful for me. I hold that in one hand for grounding. And then I hold my favorite amethyst, my favorite amethyst in the other hand, so that it keeps me balanced, right? It prevents me from going flying off, because we all can fly off or take off so easily. There's two types. You find those that take off quickly, seems kind of flighty, airheaded. Play with the fairies, the unicorns, the Pegasus, yay! We do that, you know. I do. So it's important for me to work on grounding even more, because it is so easy to take off, to astral travel, to go play, but you have to stay present. You know, this is my mission. No one else is going to do this. I have to be present in the now. I have to be grounded and balanced to complete my mission. Then there's some people who are so balanced who can't even get up into the upper chakras. Now, these people are the ones that are all about survival. And I'm sure and they've kind of disconnected from their heart. All right, so they need to play in the upper. They need to travel a little bit. They need to take off. But yes, hematite is a really powerful one for grounding and protection. Hematite is one of my favorites too, and also hematite. There was another one. It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, but yeah, hematites and jaspers, very, very powerful for grounding. Flying away, try selenite in both hands. Selenite is very powerful, and I have a selenite orb here. Ooh, ooh. Okay. Ground. Also, to moldavite, and I extreme caution with moldavite, because if you have a piece of moldavite, it's a meteorite, and I find, for me, if you're one that can take off easily, don't play around with too much moldavite, all right? Because you better make sure you have some grounding stones around with you, or someone around you who can help pull you back down, because you will take off really easy. But moldavite is great for those to get into the heart chakra. It will help them. And again, moldavite is very powerful and is something that shouldn't be held or worn for any great length of time. All right. So, yeah, I have a small piece too, and that's enough. That is powerful for me. I can't imagine the bigger pieces. I really can't. So that would be too much. But all right. So, and I did have recently found that there's a beautiful person who played too much with some big pieces of moldavite, and she had a hard time getting back into her body. And so, but grounding is the most important thing. Think of yourself as a tree. Go sit near a tree, or just envision a tree is very powerful, and that your feet are grounded into the earth, and that their roots. Just imagine that the bottoms of your feet are rooted into the earth. All right, and you are very much grounded and connected to the earth. But the rest of your body, you're going up into the air. You're going up into that space. So this is how you're balanced. You're experiencing both. You're being grounded into the earth, and you're still up into the air, into the space, into the beautiful, beautiful element. So practice the grounding techniques. That's why I say those that have a hard time grounding, get some grounding stones and visualize trees, big, massive trees with a strong root system. All right? So pick your favorite tree and let that help you with grounding. All right, so I hope that this has been very informational for you. If you have any questions, please contact me. You can email me, Tiffany White Sage Woman at TruePsychicsNetwork.com. Of course, you can notify me on my page on True Psychics Network. My website is whitesagewoman.com. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, for taking time out of your schedule and sitting in sacred circle with not just me, but for every one of us who are viewing this at the same time. So thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful for each and every one of you. And if you have any suggestions on any topics you would like for me to go over with the show, please feel free to notify me. You can find me on Facebook as well. My Facebook page, Goldylocks Temple of Healing. And then you can also find my personal page as well. Message me on Facebook. Let me know what you would like to have discussed, and like you'd like for me to take to the guides, and we'll discuss it, okay? 2-hour shows. You keep saying 2-hour shows. You're such a sweetie. I know. But I don't want to take up everybody's day. So thank you again. I'm very honored. And know that the divine in myself honors and recognizes the divine in you. We are all one. All right. Namaste. Many blessings, everyone.